Hi, everybody. Welcome back here on TV 15. I'm Bill Huddleston, along with the coach of the Ruffers, Rafa Watkins. The effort was strong. The game was exciting, but the outcome not exactly what you wanted. But all in all, it's a nice measuring stick as we get ready for district play after the 43-35 setback to Bentonville West.
Yeah, it was disappointing to say the least. We knew there was a good team coming in. One of the top teams in Arkansas is Class 7A. I think they're fifth or fourth now, and had a lot of people from over in that area tell us how talented they were, and they were. We knew that already, and but we come out playing really well. Jumped out to a 10-0 lead, 17-7. Ahead at halftime, 24-21. Had some opportunities in the first half to really blow it out. You know, we talked about in the paper and after the game of the drop passes. We have 14 drop passes. About 6 of those one was a touchdown and 6 were first downs, in which we talked about keeping their offense off the field by having sustained drives on ours, even if we didn't score. And that was the last thing we talked about going out on the field, is that we have to have sustained drives, and we just had too many drops. You know, we didn't have turnovers, but we had drops, which to me was a turnover because we had to punt. You know, we had one pick six dropped in the secondary that we could have, like I said, we could have really blown the game open in the first half and got it over with, but we let them stay in there. It's 24-21 at half, and they come out and got after us in the third quarter, and then we did our comeback in the fourth, but just too little too late. We had a chance to go, was down inside the 5. When it was down 14, we felt like instead of kicking another field goal, we had to go for it there. Don't get in. We've got to continue to work on our power game down inside there. You'll see on the highlights we get the one score off of our Kong package where we have little Q coming in and scoring. But we just made too many mistakes, and there were some crucial penalties throughout the game, which again you can't talk about those. But there were some were questionable. We had a turnover that was questionable, but that's part of the game. We had our opportunities and we didn't take full advantage of it.
The Ruffers come into district play this week with the 1-2 mark, but like Coach said, there were some shining moments for the Ruffers as we rolled our video package, give you a look at some of the highlights from last week. Coach, here's again, a young man that had a great game, Carrington Ashley.
Carrington had a great game. You'll see right here we got old Red coming in, Nathan Coffman. He also had a great game. Both linebackers I thought played an outstanding ball game. You know, we had some good things there. Speedy and Jacob hooking up again on the play that you saw a bunch against McAllister. And once he catches that post, there's not going to be anybody that we play other than Booker T that's got people that can catch him. Christian Hillman on a nice carry here for about 41 yards. I wish, and that's one of those that if we could get in, people don't realize during the course of the game, instead we get a field goal there.
Well thrown ball.
Seeing here we call him downtown Keith Brown. I love old Keith. He comes to work and he works hard every day. Had a great season last year in the JV system, and now then he's doing good things for us. And in the high school, there was our power play a while ago, and there's Carrington. No, that may have been Mike.
That was Big Mike
right there with the sack. I think he ended up with 2 sacks on the night, and Carrington had 3. There's Devin Hillman coming in with a big play defensively, and Devin had a really good game offensively too. Had 7 catches for 111 yards. There's Speedy's second touchdown on a little slant play.
He's really becoming a reliable receiver and even a good downfield blocker.
There's another sack by Carrington. And I think that's Devin. Yeah, that's another catch by Devin. Again, along the night, he had 7 catches for 111 yards.
Just no place for the quarterback, Will Jarrett, to escape here. Every time he turned, somebody was in his way, and finally Khalil got him.
I think Khalil's the one that finally ended up with it. And again, the main thing was, and here's an interception by John. I wish he nails it here, but tries to bring it out, and this is where we ended up getting our safety. But, again, it was good to see John get an interception. That was the first one of the year for us. And secondaries, as we've talked about, it's kind of like our offensive line. They're still a work in progress. We've got some rough patches, and we're trying to get better there. But I thought the other night against a very good team, it's so glaring when you catch a long pass. But the thing is, how many other passes did they have where we were defending really well? So, I mean, even though the long bombs in there that was touchdowns kind of look bad because that's the last thing you think about.
Right.
There was a lot of plays in there that we defended a lot better too.
Absolutely. There were a lot of, as they call them, PBUs. That's not peanut butter jelly, Coach. That's pass breakups. And a guy that had a little bit to do with some of that defensive success will come and join us here in a moment, Nate Coffman. And then Coach and I will be back a little bit later on to talk about the district race. It all begins playing for keeps this week as the Ruffers entertain Bartlesville on what is known as Homecoming Madness. We'll talk with our rougher guest of the week, Nate Coffman. We call him affectionately Red. You'll get to see why here in just a minute on Rougher TV. Welcome back on TV 15. Bill Huddleston along with Coach Rafa Watkins, Coach, the guy between us. Everybody just knows him on the football field as Red. It's pretty easy to see why. And believe it or not, Coach, when I was Nate Coffman's age, my hair looked pretty much just like his.
Was it the same haircut too?
No, sir, it was not. My dad was more you'll keep it short when you live in my house. But that's all rules of yesterday. This guy did his rules, did his film study, and made some big reads and some big plays.
Well, Nate has worked hard this year. You know, he started off and wasn't the starting linebacker, and this shows what resilience and hard work will do for you. And he just wouldn't take no for an answer and kept on working hard. He's worked himself in the starting lineup now, and it paid dividends. The other night he had just a huge game against Bentonville West, and couldn't be more proud of him. Again, you know, as you look at him, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got a big heart, and he's very intelligent. And he's got a mean streak in him. He's got the old red-headed temper. So I think he wakes up in the morning mad.
Well, you see the smile on his face, but when he straps the headgear on, it's all business. The coach talked about you not being the size-wise what you would expect to see from a linebacker. How do you offset that physical lack of size with the ability to make plays like we saw last week?
Just outsmart them, know what they're going to do before the play even starts, and just like read and don't let them get to you.
I made a comment on our broadcast that you'd obviously done your film study. How much do you guys spend time looking at film, looking at the CDs and things like that, watching yourself, watching the opponent, and then being able to know what they're exactly going to do?
Well, after practice, we'd stay in there for about 30 minutes while Coach Sexton just talks to us about what they do and like what formations they could be running out of and just that. And then in my hours, I don't have anything to do. I'll just sit there and watch the team we're about to play that week.
It's kind of nice to be able to pull it up on your personal computer and be able to watch it anytime you want to instead of just having to stay there for endless hours. Coach, that's an improvement from the day when I had that here.
Oh, yeah, well, and they can pull it up on their phone. They can pull it on the computer at home, whatever. And that's what and then the good thing about Huddle is you can get on there and you can see how much your kids are watching. And usually the ones that are succeeding and doing well are watching an hour or two on their own, you know. Those that are not, you know, when you go back and you look, you know, they struggle a little bit in the game. You go back and they haven't watched any on their own other than what you made them watch with you. And so the more that they can look at it, the better they're going to be. And certainly Nate's in that category. He's going to watch it. He's going to study because, again, he's a very intelligent young man and works hard at it.
Nate, what things are you looking for when you're in that linebacker spot? You and Carrington last Friday night were kind of like shining stars. Carrington Ashley with the other linebacker there in the middle. What are you watching for in the offensive line, quarterback, backfield?
Well, we read the guard. So if they have more pressure on their hand, then you know it's probably going to be running. They have just barely any pressure. It's probably going to be a pass. And if the guard pulls, like how many times they pull a game or if it's zone or anything like that.
Now, when the defensive scheme is called and it's red go, red normally means stop, but in this case it means go. And I guess you kind of get a little bit of revved up engine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, let's bring it back to school each and every day. You talked about being an academician. This young man's kind of got it on top of things. What's your favorite class here at the high school?
Probably European history with Revis.
European history with what?
With Revis. Yeah.
With Coach Revis. Why? What floats your boat about the European history?
I know it's just always been easy to me, history and just remembering things like that.
So are you ready to write your own history here in this final season?
Yes,
and
I am.
Leave a legacy?
Yes, sir.
What's your expectations for the rest of the year?
Just do the best I can do for my team and hopefully make it to that state championship.
And well, Coach, you can't ask for any more than that. He didn't say we're going to win it. He just said hopefully get there, do the best for his team, and that's all for one for all.
That's what we're looking for. If you get 11 guys out on the field each time, that's not for the individual. If they're for the team, we're going to do good things.
Nate Coffman, you'll see him each and every Friday night, a part of that rougher defensive group, making big plays just like he did last week against Bentonville West. It's time to play for keeps. Nate, Coach Watkins, and the whole crew start playing for real this Friday night as district play begins against Bartlesville. We'll talk with Coach Watkins about this week's opponent following this timeout on TV 15.
Good.
Back on TV 15, you know, Red is such a quiet guy, but when he straps that helmet on, he speaks loudly.
He does. He's a tough kid. Like I said, if he was 220 pounds, he'd be dangerous. But he's a great young man. And like I said, he's a leader in our community. He's a leader in our school and a leader on the field.
Now, Coach, we played 3 ball games, 4 weeks to get through the 3 ball games. Give your team a grade.
You know, we're better than when we started the season. I don't know about grades because it's all relative. We've got some spots that I'm really proud of that's still not performing great, but they've improved so much, you know, over this time. I'm talking about mainly our offensive line. Started off the season, we weren't very good at all, and there's times that there's glaring things that we've got to get better at, but they've improved a great deal. You know, at 1 and 2. Like I told the kids, and I was honest last year, I'm honest about it this year. Naturally, would a lot rather be 3 and 0. Sure. But last year when we were 3 and 0, I told them the same thing. I said, guys, we're 3 and 0. We're happy about it. We're doing well. But there's a lot of teams in the state that are 3 and 0 that won't make the playoffs. There's a lot of teams that are 0 and 3 that's going to make the playoffs. So the first 3 games are glorified practices, and I'm sitting here and I'm not going to lie to you. I'd a lot rather be 3 and 0 like we were last year. But we lost to 2 really good teams. Showed a lot of fight in it, and again, we're not into moral victories. We should be at the minimum 2 and 1. We should have won that game last week. I really believe. I don't care how talented they were or anything. We gave that game away, and I'll take full blame for that. But we're better than that. But we do. The new season starts, as you said, and we got Bartlesville coming in. Biggest thing for us this week is overcoming homecoming. You know, it's a coach's nightmare, and fortunately, a lot of our festivities will happen tonight, being Tuesday, and so we don't have a lot of stuff late in the time. We've got our pep assembly on Friday, but that's not going to be too much of a distraction, of course. And I really look for our kids to play well Friday night. They know what's at stake, and you get this win, and then you get ready for 2 monster games, or really 3 monster games in a row. But Bartlesville right now is going through some different times. You know, they've had a coaching change up there during the course of the year, and they had 2 weeks off though. So you know, they're with a new coach, some things that they're doing. They had a week to prepare for us because they're like us. They only have 9 games this year. They couldn't find that 4th non-district game, and so they were off last week. So they've had 2 weeks to prepare for us. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of different looks. They are very big up front on their offensive and defensive lines, but you know, we're going to hold a distinct speed advantage. I think it's a lot like McAllister is what it is. They've got a big line like McAllister. They've got a couple of kids that can really run. They've got a really nice corner in number 25. I think he's an outstanding corner. You know, we're going to know where he's at all the time and probably try to stay away from his side. They got a couple of really good inside linebackers that I think fly to the ball extremely well. So we're going to have to bid our best, but we'll get after it and come Friday night, hope to have a huge homecoming crowd and do something well for the Old Roughers.
Well, it starts district play this Friday night against Bartlesville. Coach, if you just look at the overall layout of this district with the first 3 weeks of the season, you've seen Bixby lose a couple of games, 2 really good football teams. Mm-hmm. You've seen Booker T. Washington show that they're a team to be reckoned with. And really, you've seen pretty much everybody show a little bit of improvement over past years. And the expectations for a wild and crazy district chase are exactly that.
It is. You know, it's wide open. I look at it as a lot like about 2 years ago when, you know, Bixby ended up getting 4th in the district and then won state. It's that close. And again, we've said it before, but that's what makes 6A2 so exciting. And I know people call it the JV League, but there's probably 10 teams right now that on a given night can win the state championship. On the other side, you've got Lawton and Midwest City, which are powerhouses, and they open district play against each other. But as I said last year after we played them, I said Stillwater's a team to watch. They're 3-0. They beat 3 6A, the big boys, in there. And then Choctaw's 3-0 over there, and has beat Sand Springs 21-20. So you know, and Putnam City, not to overlook, they're huge.
Say, Coach.
And then they got Putnam City that had the huge win over Bixby last week. So, and we scrimmaged them, and so we know how good they are. So you know, again, it's wide open in the whole state race. But we're just worried right now about our district chances and making the playoffs, because I've always said that, you know, Muskogee is just one of those places, especially with now that the way the divisions are, that Muskogee should never be out of the playoffs. You know, we might be 4th or we might be 1st, but we should be in the playoffs.
Well, the Roughers take that first step toward the eventual playoff spot that they hope to gain by year's end. Friday night, 7 o'clock is game time at Muskogee Creek Nation Field, as Muskogee will entertain the Bartlesville Bruins. If for some unforeseen reason you can't be there in person, remember you can always watch it anywhere you are on Rougher.tv, and we'll begin our pregame countdown to kickoff at 6:30. Coach, looking forward for a big thing on Friday night. It's game night, brought to you by American Bank. It's time to wave the flag, and not just the red, white, and blue, but the green when it's all said and done.
Well, it's an exciting time for getting some of the alumni back, and should be a great game.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing everybody there. But if you can't make it, again, like we said, Rougher TV is the place to be. For head coach Rafa Watkins, and for our good buddy Nate Coffman, who I almost have to stutter and say Red every time. Thanks for joining us here on TV 15. And remember, it's always a great day to be a Rougher.